Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you a clip from a recent live event with my members only, where myself and Steve82 are going to be talking about the evolving meta within Splinterlands, where it used to be, where it's going to, playing at a high level within Splinterlands, within the modern or the wild, and how that's going to change and what cards are important. It's a fun conversation, especially with an OG like Steve. So glad you came along, Steve. Guys, check out his channel, and I hope you stick around for this one. Have an amazing day. God bless. Hey guys, Infidel1258 here, hanging out with Steve. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Overall, I'm just happy about where the game is at, the things that the team is working on. The only unfortunate thing for me is my job is going back to full time in the office. I didn't mention to that to you. So my content production might take, it's been down and now it might go down a little bit more because I got to get back into just doing videos on the night time. So that might be a bit of a bummer.
Yeah,
But, other than that, things are good.
Gathering, good to see you, buddy. Having lunch with his wife, taking time to get into the Splinterlands conversation. Always appreciate your content, Bobby. You're always here, dude. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Black Coffee, good to see you, buddy. Who else is out there? And looks like that's who's hanging today, but I appreciate you guys. I see you got other things going on, whether it's lunch or breakfast, or even Bobby said he's I'm doing paint corrections today, so I won't be chatty, but I'm here. Feed my knowledge, feed me. Love it. Guys, I have 12 and 15. I have 12 to 15 max card total. That's a good start. That's how it goes, right? You don't start with a full deck, but I still remember, Steve, do you remember, does it feel like forever ago when you didn't have a max deck? Because I know you don't have a max. There's some cards you probably still don't have, like some of these soulbounds, but you have a very strong deck, right? You're a champion player, are you not?
Yeah. My deck, yesterday night, it was kind of funny. I was ranked 10 in Modern on my deck, and I had already hit with the new rating system Champion 1, which was pretty wild. The account fell back down. Now, I do let Archmage play it sometimes,
Yeah.
and I play it other times. I feel like I'm pretty competitive in Modern. I don't play Wild anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was missing just some important cards for Wild, and I didn't want to make that investment on those older cards.
Yeah.
Because they were so expensive. I never bought the beta summoners, and for the longest time, not having the beta legendary summoners was just such a hindrance.
Yeah.
If you couldn't pull out a Prince Renin or a Valamor in the right game, you just got smoked.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's why, I decided to just be a Modern player. I have a max Chaos set, I have a max Riftwatcher set, and I have a Lorna and a Mylor maxed out, and a couple other of the important Riftwatcher cards.
Yeah.
I mean the dice cards.
Yeah.
Because they're still in Modern.
Yeah.
But you don't have like Plato Emberstorm or Valamor or Prince Renin. Those cards were so strong. If you didn't have them, you just got smoked in Wild by those cards.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're totally right, and that's interesting. I play in Wild, and you're right. It's a struggle for me to get into Champion 3 every season. Every season it's a struggle. Last season I made it, and I don't use a bot right now. I used to have Archmage, but I don't use it anymore. And you're right. It's these guys. It's like this. So it makes me then wonder, where are because in some sense you're talking about not that, hey, Plato is you have to have, or even Valinor, who's amazing. I'm not hearing you say that you need to have just Valinor or just Prince Ren. It's like I'm hearing you say that it's the multitude of options that make an old alpha beta deck fuller or more complete is what separates, for instance, probably Champ 1 from Champ 3. And yeah, Valinor is a major part of that, or Prince Ren is a major part of that, but actually it's the options between them, and that is why it's so much more expensive, because it's not like, hey, if I just get this one more card, I'll be done with my Wild. It's actually far more complicated, and that makes me want to talk about the Modern League and the changes there, because you just talked about how Dice is in there, but Chaos Legion's gonna hang out. What's gonna happen? Untamed will move out of it, and Rebellion will move into it.
And I actually do have a max Untamed set, So that's what makes Modern so easy for me right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of like the old Wild player before Untamed was around, where if you had maxed beta legendary summoners, you just picked on people.
Yeah.
So I have, I have Kitty, I have Yodin, I have Llama, I have Chancius. I even have Little Deep Swimmer who, in the ranged only matches, can be a nightmare to
Yeah.
fight against.
Yeah.
Now that they added that new rule set, and even Mimosa, she signs in a lot of battles too, and I have all those cards, and
Yeah.
so it feels good to be really competitive in Modern because I don't lose Modern matches very often where I go, I lost because I don't have that card.
Yeah.
When I used to play before, I would run into those sometimes.
What you said about Liar Deep Swimmer strikes me as maybe important because I think this is a good example of how the evolution of the evolution of the meta through changing of rule sets and through introduction of new cards, and actually even eventually the changing of what league certain cards are being played in. So right now, Untamed is very powerful within the Modern because it actually comes from a moment too in Splinterlands history when most people who are here weren't here. And so if you happen to have those cards, you have a real edge, like in the same way that you described those alpha beta summoners having that real edge in the wild. And that makes me then think, because Chaos Legion, we hear talk about the summoners over here in Chaos Legion. We hear talk about how they aren't as good as Untamed. I hear it in a number of ways from a number of different angles. They say these aren't that powerful, or they say they're never going to appreciate in price like the old Untames and stuff like this, or they say the Untames are way, way better. And I think there's some truth to that, but I actually think the bigger issue is that those other cards have been around long enough, whether it's alpha, beta, promo, reward, dice, even Untamed dice. They've been around long enough that there's been an evolution of a meta around them, and cards, and also the community has recognized which cards will work really well together. And I think that knowledge, as that knowledge grows, opinions change on what is really powerful. Plus, which cards are available in the Modern format will really dictate what is overpowered. If Kitty's not in the Modern, then it isn't even relevant from the conversation of what is meta in the Modern. And that makes me think, people talk about how these are not as good, these legendary summoners. And in some sense, I agree, but I think they're exceptional also. I think they are exceptional. I think we overlook how good they are, but also their unique power level is going to change by necessity as other cards shuffle out. And if people are seeing that now at these $20 price points or whatever, I think they're going to position themselves well so that maybe they can do what you're doing now, which is be that kind of OG in the Modern in the next 6 months to like 1.5 years from now, right? Because when Untamed shifts out, what do you think about that? How do you feel about these summoners?
You're absolutely right that right now is the golden time to get ready for the next stage of the game, as long as you think it'll be there. Because if you get this group of summoners you're showing on the board, and Lux isn't here, but she should be included, is a possible target, because she is that good of a card. But they are going to have their heyday when they are going to be the most powerful cards in the game, because Untamed will go out, Rebellion will come out, and as long as they do things the same, we're not going to see the first Rebellion legendary summoner for what, 3 to 4 months, maybe even longer, before it'll be airdropped out to people and enter the game. And then it'll be another year before the whole set of them is out. And so when they don't have to fight with Kitty anymore, when they don't have to fight with Yasik or I mean not Yodin, Llama, any of those guys, when they're all gone and these are your only cards, it's actually going to be one of the most competitive times I think we've had in Splinterlands in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because what these summoners show to me is that they changed something from Untamed to Chaos Legion and decided to make the game more balanced, because you don't have a broken character. Because like when Yodin first came out, he was just broken.
Yeah.
There was no counter to him.
Yeah.
He just won every game.
Yeah.
Same thing with Llama. I
Yeah.
mean, Llama Kron, you could not beat Llama Kron. It was impossible for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they put out some cards that changed that, and you can beat it now.
Yeah.
But you know, they put out game breaking cards when they dropped the Untamed Legendary Summoners. They didn't do that this time. And a lot of these summoners are created to fight each other.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a ton of cat and mouse in the new modern format once Untamed is taken out. That is going to be a lot of fun, not to mention because when Untamed goes, Dice goes with it. So Dice is gone, so you won't have any more Mylors in low mana. You won't have any more Lorenas. They'll all be gone. Your lowest mana summoners will be 4s. You won't have any of these 3s. They'll all be gone. So theoretically, also, does that mean Rebellion is going to be the heir of 3-cost summoners? To bring them back into the meta?
Maybe. Interesting.
You know, so we might have a whole new breed of 3-cost summoners come out in Rebellion. It would make sense because there'll be no 3-cost in Modern post Untamed, right? And Dice moving out, because those are the current 3-costs that are in Modern.
Interesting. Do you think we'll ever see more 2-cost summoners and then also
No,
or even one? Like I've heard this was just a rumor from somebody, I forget who was suggesting this, but the suggestion was that you could make a how did it go? I think the suggestion was that you could have a 1-cost summoner, but maybe they have like a negative ability. Maybe they hurt you in some sense. That wasn't what the suggestion was. I'm kind of misremembering what the original idea was. But could we ever see something like that where we see 1s or 2s again, do you think?
I don't think so. The game is going bigger mana in general. They just did the new league changes where they increased the mana caps you can get in bronze and decrease, in general, up the cap for each one of the areas. Rift Watchers is full of big monsters. It feels like the game is going to bigger stuff. Could they copy would 2-cost is no ability? Do you think they would do that again just to do it?
I think I just wonder from the wild perspective, the modern perspective, if you really wanted to see sort of some options open up again for that side. But I hear you too. They are going bigger with the mana and stuff like this. So maybe we need to build out. Maybe we need more time before the 2s are reintroduced. Like almost, we have 7, we have 6. We could see 8-cost summoners. I wouldn't be too surprised if there was some 8 or some 9s at one point in the future, for a summoner perspective, and then maybe like now 2-3 years out, we start saying, okay, how about some more low-cost summoners because the other ones are just so old. Maybe.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because you got to remember, so the 7-cost legendaries are going away. So Rebellion's legendaries are going to have to replace the 7-cost legendary summoners with the current legendaries being the 6-cost. It's really out there in the future, but it's going to be interesting deciding what they are going to do. Could we see the first full release of 3-cost legendary summoners? So maybe 3-cost summoners that are a little better than these current ones. Or maybe a 4-cost legendary, or is it a 5-cost? Because we haven't seen 5-cost yet, really.
Well, the old Plato Emberstone series, the betas.
Yeah, we haven't seen them since beta.
Yeah.
So maybe we go back to 5s.
Yeah.
Or maybe we take the jump to 8s. We could see the first realm of 8-cost summoners, and they would be relatively powerful if you based it on what the 7 costs have of today. It's going to be interesting, though.